The story of Fir'aun with Musa alayhi salam. Now we have to understand, when our scholars explained who is Fir'aun, okay, they mentioned Muslim Arab name, okay? They mentioned literally Arab name. I will read it to you. Who Tabari said, what Al-Yaqubi said, what Ibn Kathir said, these Islamic historians, okay, mentioning this. Okay, I want to read something from the article here. Muslim sources, okay, historians, linguists, and exegetes, which is the Mufassirun, stated that Fir'aun, mentioned in the Quran in the story of the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, who was from the offspring of the Malak, which is the Malakite, an Arab tribe from the perished tribes, Al-Arab al-Ba'ida, that no longer exists, similar to Ad and Thamud, who originated in Yemen. His name was given Al-Walid ibn Mus'ab bin Muawiyah bin Nuwaymir, okay? So these names, when you go back to the king of Egyptians, don't lose the tracks with me. There's difference between Egypt back then and Egypt our time, okay? Okay, so because there was part of which Egypt now was still controlled by the Malakite, which is Fir'aun we're talking about, yeah? So this name does not fit in with the ancient Egyptian kings.
Okay.
The ancient Egyptian kings, their name is not Arab, Ramses, you know, other names, understand? So it doesn't fit in. So when you look here, they're saying, what? Let me read it more because it's very good. So he mentions he always prays, but okay. So offspring of Nuh, okay. And his wife was Asiya bint Muzahim bin Ubayd bin Rayyan bin Walid. And she was the believing wife who was praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Tahrim. So this name, Asiya bint Muzahim, again, that's not the names of the ancient Egyptians.
Okay.
You understand? So what is, not all of them, of course, some of them even mention that it happened in which they call Egypt in our time. But the proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah, it shows you that the Fir'aun of Musa is different than which we call our time Pharaoh of Egypt. Because this time Pharaoh, ancient Egyptians, they never call their kings Pharaoh.
Okay.
It's one known. When you speak to the Kemites, and they tell you, no, we don't know Pharaoh. You know, this came after, by the Western, you know, they use this Pharaoh. Okay, they say, some of them said, he came from Pharaoh, which is Hebrew, that was derived from Bara, which is the house of God, or something like that, okay? But there's no proof for it whatsoever, okay? But the point here is that when you look to the story of Musa alayhi salam, and how Allah mentioned when he destroyed Fir'aun and his soldiers, he inherited the land to the Israelites. But when you go to Egyptian, that story is not known. That the Israelites went back and took over the land.
Okay.
According to the Bible, they went somewhere else. They want, you know, even some Muslim scholars mention that, but relying on the biblical sources, yeah? So the point here is, because it's a long article, but if Anwar comes in and well, just, but about Bani Israel. For example, one of the strong points they have, these archaeologists, they're saying that when the ancient Egyptians were known to write down the history. So where is the story of Musa with Fir'aun? Some said it was Ramses, but they said it was not Ramses. Second. They said no, it was not him. Okay, then they said no, he was his son. Okay, they're not sure. But when you go back to the Muslim Islamic sources, clearly he mentioned Fir'aun. He was an Arab name. He was someone came from the Malakite and who enslaved the Israelites. Okay. Likewise, what he mentioned about there's verse in the Quran when he mentioned that what they call it. They said there was 3 million. 3 million, yeah?
3 million, yeah.
But Allah said, وَإِنَّهُمْ لَشَذِّيمَةٌ قَلِيلُونَ. There are very few people. 3 million is not very few people. So the proofs in the Quran, the Sunnah, I'm summarizing it by the way, but there's a nice article, and there's even now historians, Egyptians, are saying that. They're saying no, the Pharaoh of Egypt, or the Pharaoh of the story of Musa has nothing to do with the ancient Egyptian kings, you know? So that's why we go on.
Hyksos as well.
Hyksos in the history, you can mention it. What is the exactly?
Hyksos were a Semitic people.
Yes.
Historians will say this, that the Hyksos are Semitic people that came from the Arabian Peninsula, from the east basically.
Yeah.
They came into the upper Egypt and they conquered, they ruled that land. So from the Nile until like Sham basically, this was the land that we're talking about. So this is where this thing's happening. Not in the very south of Egypt, and so it's all in that northern part.
But yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Then should we use the word pharaoh then? Is it
Yeah,
like-
because what they say Fir'aun, some of them differ. Is it a name or title?
Yeah.
Some of them mention it was a name.
Yeah.
Some of them mention it was a title. Okay? And they said it was it comes from the word from the root fara'a. Fara'a, when you explode something, or so they said it came from the word fara'a. I mean, even Yaqub, he mentioned when he said, I went to Egypt and I asked the Coptics, he said, do you know what is Fir'aun? He said, no, it's not another language, Fir'aun. You see? So that's why there's many Jews and atheists, Christians, becoming atheists because of this story. They're saying how people known to write down history, and one of the biggest migration happened during their lifetime, but there's not any record about it. 3 million people who left. This is the half of the population of Egypt, which we call Egypt in our time.
Yeah, so it's impossible. Yeah, I see what you
Yeah.
mean. But in our case, actually, it's more believable because from an atheist perspective, because there are much less people, so it's like...
No, from our point, we say it's not even the story. To make it clear, not every scholar is saying that. Okay.
Yeah.
But some scholars mentioned that he's an Arab, okay? But the point, some said the story or the event never happened in which we call Egypt right now. You know, when the pyramid and they go check for Pharaoh, everything, it was not there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you mean.
It was other parts of the,
Closer to Sham, basically.
yeah.
Okay. So that's why there's no... okay.
And even the historians, they accept that the Hyksos, they never went all the way down to the south of Egypt.
Okay.
Aswan and to Luxor and these places. It was just the northern part.
Yeah.
And that's basically, they were from north of Arabia.
Yeah.
And that flows into it, basically.
It makes more sense because it's closer to Banu Israel, like, where they started.
Okay, yes. Well, I mean, say again?
Sinai Peninsula.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, yeah.
Akhi, even the mountain of Sinai, there's a...
It's not there.
Yeah, akhi, the mountain of Sinai, which I believe is not there. The mountain of Sinai.
Okay.
Akhi, history, we have to understand, of course. If something clear from the Quran and Sunnah, we accept it above our heads, Quran and Sunnah is the truth without any doubt, But this history, sometimes, even the Muslim historians, what they do sometimes, they rely on the Christian or the Bible sources. Yeah. What is amazing and interesting, Wahb bin Munabbih, he was, or Ka'b al-Ahbar, one of them, he was a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, he became a Muslim. And he himself, he mentioned that Fir'aun, his name was Walid, an Arab name. And he said, go back to Malachite, if I don't remember the quote exactly. Yeah, so...
So it's another region, another story, it's like not even the same.
Akhi,
If you look at the Western historians, they've tried to whitewash any Arab influence. And for them, Arab is Southern Arabia. If you look at the language that the ancient Hebrews spoke, it's all Semitic languages. The Semitic languages, they can understand each other to a certain degree. So what they've tried to, there's a book called De-Arabizing Arabia. And what they've tried to do, they've tried to separate the northern Arabs from the southern Arabs and basically make it as if the Arabs are not kind of relevant in history, in Egyptian history or Nabatean history or Semitic history. But these Semitic languages, they're sister languages. And the further back in history you go, the easier you'll be able to understand each other. You'll see that these people, they were all linked.
You mean
and the Hyksos, basically, what we're saying is the Hyksos, they were Arab. They were a type of Arab. Amalekah were a type of Arab.
yeah, even Josephus, yeah, they mentioned about him, he said that, about the Hyksos. They were
So
Arabs.
basically you mean Malachites. When you say ancient Arabs...
Yeah, Malachite. Yeah, they mentioned about the Malachites, yeah. Even here mentioned, he said, on the basis of Kipti Pharaoh, by historians and archaeologists, that there is nothing recorded in history by any of the major nations of the time who had trade and diplomatic relations with Egypt and its rulers within its modern boundaries, and nor by Egyptians themselves, that there was Musa and Bani Israel present in Egypt. But remember, you have to bear in mind, with its modern boundaries. There is no mention of it. Yeah, subhanallah.
That's the maddest thing. So how can a Christian use an archaeological silence as a proof against the Quran when compared to their own religion, most of it is
Yeah,
unsupported
that's a
in
good
history.
point.
How can it be? Most of it. The 3 million Jews that existed in Egypt and the 3 million migration. And then they went to Sinai Peninsula. Then they crossed the Red Sea. no trace of this in history. You're gonna have pots. You're gonna have something that's pans or some sort of. You're gonna see 3 million people making a migration. They're gonna leave some athar. They're gonna leave some traces. You're not gonna see this. Luke, in Luke, all these dead people came out of their. Is it Luke? Yeah. All the dead people came out
I
of their
think
graves.
it's Luke, yeah.
All of these dead people come out of their graves.
And 1,000 people saw, no,
They saw their
1,000.
ancestors. They sat with them. They spoke with them. We missed you. Da, 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 da. Nobody documented except Luke. So.
And as well, I was going to mention something about subhanallah. Yeah, also they mentioned that none of the Egyptian kings claim to be God. No one says, I am God. Correct, sir? No one, no. Especially if they say Ramses. Ramses never claimed to be God. Rather, there is some Egyptian historians that said Ramses was a good man, according to them. But so when you look to the Islamic sources mentioning that Pharaoh of Moses had an Arab name, came from Malachite, that's not the Egyptian kings. You know?
And just another thing, he mentioned Asiatic. When he said Hyksos, he used the archaeological, the kind of Western historian term, Asiatic. That kind of, again, takes it away from, if they're Arab, Asiatic, that gives implications that they're from like far
yeah.
Iraq.
Yeah, Iraq,
like
yeah.
The Amalekah, they're Arab. So when they say Asiatic, that's because they classify Arabia as Asia.
Oh, okay.
So forget the wide titles, what were they? Forget their region, or because they don't know where they come, they just said the East. Let's look, what were their lineages? What were their tribes? You see that they were Amalekah.
Yeah, I will send you the article. I'm thinking to read through it, inshallah ta'ala. But you know, as I've mentioned, there is no clear cut in the Quran said this is what the scholars derive from the Quran and the Sunnah. And what is amazing, like even the brothers mentioned the Abu Iyad's article, he said, subhanAllah, the archaeologists, even the Israelite archaeologists, they say they've been digging for years. Years, like, you go to the kings, like King so-and-so, they know about him, nothing. But story of Musa alayhi salam with the Pharaoh, nothing. So my point was, his point, the Christians say to me, prove from the outside the Quran that the ancient Egyptians were using baked bricks, yeah? There is proof for it. But my point was, to begin with, I don't even believe the issue or the event of Musa alayhi salam with Pharaoh happened what you believe.
Yeah.
Egypt was called Egypt
the
now.
Same place and the same
Yeah,
people.
same with the same in the same place with the same people. No, I don't believe that.
Exactly.
So your premises is wrong.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
To begin with. So you try to impose it on me, but when it comes to history, alhamdulillah, it's more open. But if there's a clear-cut proof from the Quran or the Sunnah, and we accept Quran and Sunnah to be true, not because of one story, no. Overwhelming proofs based upon the Quran and Sunnah give us knowledge and certainty. You understand? Like now, if I establish Prophet Muhammad is a true prophet, you telling me, Prophet Muhammad got married to Aisha, that does not negate he's a true prophet. Why? Because we can go back and know, okay, there's either misunderstanding or we are misusing it. And we come to know we are misusing it because at the time Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, likewise afterward in Britain, in Europe, in America, they were known to get married at the young age. He was known. The kings of England, and other than them, that's why the Arabs, no one from the Arabs, pagans, from the Christians, Jews that lived in Medina, the Christians that came from Najran, no one used the Prophet Muhammad Muhammad's issue marrying Aisha as proof against him to be not prophets. Because why? It was something well known, well established, that when a girl sometimes the girl can reach the age of puberty before and can be mature before the age of puberty. So
about the historical thing, I don't know if you guys want to say something about this. No. Like I was speaking with a Christian now, like he was saying, it's the same argument. I hear it all over again. If Jesus was not crucified, why the historical data says that he was crucified? And I say like the Quran responds to that because he said وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُم. So if شُبِّهَ لَهُم, if it seems that they crucified him, it's normal that
we would expect them to narrate that.
Yeah. So that goes in line with the Quran.
Yeah, it doesn't go against it, صحيح. It doesn't go against it, alhamdulillah. Yeah, it doesn't go against it, alhamdulillah. Anyway, we don't want to put too much information for people, alhamdulillah, but, just because last time, the article is, I'll give you the name, because last week I mentioned it, about me, I don't believe it happened in the same place with the same people, but I never explained it very, very well.
Even the time frame, they differ as the time. If you're talking about the time of Ramesses, this is where the Christians tried to fit it into the time of Ramesses.
Yeah.
Hyksos were, I think, I don't know, before or after that, but it's different periods.
Yeah, even the time, because we don't have a clear, barakallah, because we don't have a clear from the Quran or the Sunnah which year or what time Moses existed. Sahih, barakallah. Okay, I'll give you to read it, So Islam. Okay, yeah.
You can send them the PDF as well after.
Yeah, I can send it to you. Yeah, Islam Moses. Yeah, so it's islammoses.com. Understanding Bani Israel, the Judaism, and the religious sects of the Jews. The Pharaoh of Moses alayhi salam was a tyrant from the Amalekite tribe of Arabs, not a Kipti.
You must take pictures.
Okay, you want to take a picture of it? Yeah.
Take it right back to the top.
Yeah. And we finish with what? Allah Ta'ala A'lam. Allah knows best.